everybody. Welcome back to another episode of The Awakened. Hope everybody's had a great week. And I know we've got back at the table. Pastor Rob's back with us after a week in Buffalo.
Yep, that was a fun time to go up there and meet some cool people and just get some rest as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. And it's good to have you back. And, of course, Nate's with us today. So the whole gang's in town. And we don't have too many different topics that we're going to be talking about today, but we have some important things we really want to make sure we expose and we discuss with everybody here. We want to talk about, this food shortage that is coming our way, and I think we all need to be aware and prepared for that. We want to give an update on Pastor Josh Sobie over in Ukraine. Scott.
No, you're good.
Scott Sobie over in Ukraine. I'm Josh, not him. And then we want to dive into all this drama going on with Disney and their push to make every child at least question their sexual identity for some reason. So we'll get into all that. Before we do, we want to remind everybody, make sure if you're not right now, please check us out on AGA TV. That's www.aga.network. Download the app on your mobile phone, your smart TV, really wherever you watch streaming content, stream this stuff there, because you never know when we're going to get removed from the other platforms like YouTube, and Rumble's good right now. But again, we don't want to 100% trust anybody except for ourselves. So check us out on AJ TV. We are on Getter, Facebook. You can follow us there, but make sure you follow us on Locals. Join our Locals community. That is supportaga.com. Everything that we're looking at during the week, we're posting in there, news articles, stories, trying to stay updated because we can't get to everything, obviously, on the one show we do. So we're just trying to keep that fresh. And, if you join there, then you can also help support the show, support the network, and you can have interactions with us and other members. So it's a pretty cool deal. And lastly, if you want to become an AGA insider, make sure you text the letters AGA to 330-619-4497. Text AGA to 330-619-4497 and become an AGA insider today. All right, Rob, do you want to kind of lead everything off with the update from Ukraine?
So today, the date that we're filming this is day 36 of the war in Ukraine. Isn't that amazing?
That is.
36 days. So as you know, we did a whole interview with Scott Sobie, who's in Ukraine. And we've had lots of feedback from our audience about what's an update. We want an update, and that's great. The only issue is those are hard to come by now that the war is in day 36. Some of the things that are happening on the ground do not make it feasible for him to do video like he did before. And so I do have an update that he has texted me, and I'm allowed to share that, but we're not going to be doing video probably for a while. But we don't want to leave our audience who's praying and thinking about it. We don't want to leave them out, but we do want to respect his family and himself being behind the lines of Russian military. So the update is very interesting. One of the pieces of the update is that in their town, the Russians have come in and talked to their schools and have adjusted all of their schools to Russian content with the Russian language, and they're starting school in 2 weeks. That's what they told them. So that is a big shift. We're starting up school in 2 weeks, everybody, and you're going to be speaking a different language. Some of the people will have to speak a different language in their school, and you're going to be using the Russian curriculum with all the Russian technology. And so that has brought a lot of stress on the families, the children, just brought a lot of stress. But I do want to read a message that he sent me this morning, just so that we're all on the same page. And this is addressed to all the audience. I can't express how grateful we are for your concern and your prayers. I'm so glad that the Lord is laying the people of Ukraine on your hearts. We so appreciate that. The situation seems so dark here, but knowing that people are praying gives us hope that the light of Christ will penetrate that darkness. I'll be honest, there isn't really a lot of new things to report. So that's a big deal because in the beginning there was a lot to report. So now things are, they're there. But, he also in here says that he's glad that there isn't anything huge to report. Yeah. So that's a big deal. But there is occupation all around them now. All the area is completely occupied by the Russians. we are having to lay very low, but we still meet together with other believers, and we try to bring comfort and encouragement. We're also reaching out to people around us and trying to provide what help we can. Right now, there's more food available than there was before, so that has made things definitely a lot easier for them. And there's not a great need for them to bring food into other places. There are things like nursing homes and hospitals that are running short, so they're taking food from the city and taking it into those places. But, people are grateful that they know, because he's communicating that there's people praying for them, and trying to help in any way that we can. Many people have the idea that they are lucky because the worst part of the war isn't happening in their city, but they aren't being affected by it because they aren't being affected by it directly. I think that in the places where there's real violence and terror, more people are turning to God in humility and repentance. We are still praying for an awakening here in our area and asking God what he would do, what he wants to do to use us to help that happen. So it sort of reminds me of the church in America. Like, the whole world is burning right now, and the church in America is like, oh yeah, we're good, right? And I think that that's sort of where they're at is, oh, it's tough. We got our food now. We're okay, so we can go back to sleep. And not being negative, but that's, they're praying for an awakening. They're praying for people to be hungry for Jesus. And the people are like, oh, the war's around us and we're safe now, so we can go back to life. That's not a good thing.
Yeah. No, it's not.
But we can still contend for an awakening there and here, that people wake up to know who Jesus is and trust in him and have peace in the midst of a storm and all of those things. But, my takeaway from that was just one message. We've been messaging back and forth, but my biggest takeaway is that things are getting tighter. Russian influence is becoming greater, but they're safe. Yeah. That's sort of the takeaway.
Yeah. The starting school in 2 weeks and you will be learning Russian. That's
Russian curriculum now. In one of the messages, it was like, we're on this side of the reservoir and we're in Russian control. On the other side of the reservoir is Ukrainian control, and they're all free, but we're not. And so, they can look across the water and over there they're free and they're, whatever, but here we're not. And I think that we as Americans don't understand this. He's living it, but we have to understand this. We have to get this.
Yeah.
That in a matter of 36 days, their world is completely changed. Mm-hmm. And we have to know how to navigate that. And the only way that you can navigate something like that is to have a relationship with Jesus.
Yep. Yeah. And I don't have anything ready to go to really discuss this in depth, but we kind of know based on what has been said by our government here in the last week or so, it seems like there are plans for this to be a very prolonged conflict.
Yeah, it seems like we're supporting both sides so that it'll last a while.
Yep. Yeah.
But isn't that, off of that whole, well, let's just say this before we go on to that.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to turn this political. But so on behalf of Scott and his wife and their family and the city, they appreciate, they say thank you, and thank you for their support. Really, at this point, there's nothing we can physically, tangibly do. We just can't get anything to them. But they wanted to say how appreciative they are, and that they covet our prayers and whatever the Lord says they're going to do. Yeah. So, but right now he's saying stay there and do that. So that's just exciting. We wanted to bring you that update, and then and now we can turn it political. But like, isn't it interesting? I was thinking the other day that when a president's poll numbers are in the tank, we go to war.
Mm-hmm.
And the amount of innocent people that we're witnessing. We're listening to Mariupol and the people there. They've got nothing. Like the whole town is completely flat to the ground. They have nothing, and they're trying to escape. And it's because of a few men.
Yeah,
a few men.
Yeah, a few men, and part of it has to do probably with a laptop that.
Well, I'm sure
has been confirmed.
I'm sure it does, but it goes to me. It all goes back to a few men who want to cover up or start something or do whatever. Yep. Has sent this whole country into a debacle, and it's affecting us here in America because of our food supply.
Yep. Yeah, the food supply. So that's what we wanted to dive into next, because I don't know how many people watch. I'm sure if you're watching this, listening to this, you're aware of what's going on. But I've had a lot of people say to me, I've heard the comments be made about, well, there's still stuff on the shelves. I mean, yeah, you got a bare shelf here and there or whatever, but then the next truck comes in and gets filled up. I'm not worried about it. Well, I don't know how those people aren't understanding the timeline. So things that are affecting the food chain or the food supply right now aren't going to be realized in the stores
90 days.
Right. For a little while yet. So
right.
Do you want to dive into this business blur video first? And
yeah.
then we can
So there's this video that I found. This astrophysicist is talking about what the global grain production normally looks like around the globe. And there's actually some maps in here that'll be very interesting. But this video actually takes it from the actual supply side, but also what are they doing on the governmental side to actually limit what's going on with that. So let's take a look.
About 15% of the world's calories come from wheat. About a third of that wheat comes from Russia, Ukraine. Russia has banned export of wheat. The wheat spring planting season is like now, this week, and there's not a lot of planting going on. So not only is the current wheat supply in Russia, Ukraine blocked up and cannot make its way to countries in Africa and elsewhere, but the future planting season is now significantly at risk. And again, that's 15% of global calories. And just to take a step back, the whole planet Earth operates on a 90-day food supply. Once we stop making food, humans run out of food in 90 days. And that's not just linearly across all nations. What happens is the most vulnerable nations lose their food supply first, and the richer nations buy that food supply to secure their population calories. And so you very quickly see a bifurcation happen where suddenly famine is a real risk. And we already have about 800 million people on Earth that are subsisting on below 1,200 calories a day. So this very quickly tips the bucket.
That's a little bit alarming, huh?
90 days.
90 days. Okay. That's good to know. And the ideal planting season is now, and
they're not
happening.
planting. They're not planting in the two countries that produce 15% of all the wheat in the world.
Not a coincidence.
I thought he said, didn't he say it's a third of the wheat in all the world and it supplies 15% of the calories, right?
There you go. 15% of the calories. So a third of the wheat.
So 1/3 of that 15%, we're not getting it.
Correct.
That's unbelievable.
800 million people
living
below 1,200 calories a day. I mean,
and like you said, it's going to be the vulnerable
Yep.
populations that get hit by the food shortage.
Yeah,
first.
because China and America, we're going to buy it all up.
We'll buy it up so we have
It'll
it
be
at
like
least for now.
$100 for a thing of bread.
Yeah, and this doesn't even take into account the dollar,
Yep.
the devaluing of the dollar that makes it even harder to buy that stuff. But what I thought was interesting about the video is that it showed that this is how it normally flows, but Russia has stopped all export. So even though they have it, they're not exporting it.
Mm-hmm.
So when did that happen? The war's been going on 36 days. Let's say that on day one, he stopped the export. I don't know. Let's say day one. We got 60 days till we feel it.
So we could already be a third of the way into this.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like the whole point of bringing this up is you need to be prepared.
Yep.
Like you need to be prepared because, it's not that you're going to be missing your mini wheats. It might be that there aren't any.
Right.
Because they just can't produce them. We saw it through COVID with different things, but the other part about that is that the planting, so whatever they had in storage is not being released, but they're not planting new, which means that harvest that comes in 90 days or 120 days is not going to be there.
Right.
So this is not just it's not just a simple bump in the supply. It's a sustained bump in all of it, a sustained decline in all the production, which means that we're going to lose a third of our global wheat supply for the whole year.
Yeah. Jeez. And I know that another argument too, I hear sometimes is, well, there's farms in America, right?
Right.
Well, how much of I forget the number, but a lot of our fertilizer comes from Russia and we're not getting that now.
Right. They stopped all import of that.
Right.
So the price of that is crazy. And we have a video that talks about what happened to the price of fertilizer. So it's not just this little war over there in, Russia, Ukraine. This is a big deal and it's going to affect everything at our grocery stores. It's affecting our farmers. It's affecting all of our food supply, which to me you can call me whatever you want, but to me, it's a plan.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, and it's being executed
Flawlessly.
Yep. So who is this? Remind me. Representative Thomas Massey. Okay. So let's just listen to what he has to say about this food supply crisis coming our way.
I think we're going to be facing a food selection crisis. You're going to go to the supermarket and the things you want to buy aren't going to be there. Will you be able to get enough protein? Yes, but it might not be the protein you want. Because right now farmers are making decisions about which crops to grow based on how sensitive they are to fertilizer applications. Let me give you an example. A lot of farmers can raise corn or soybeans, and in a single year they might raise both. But they are deciding to raise soybeans now more so than corn because corn is very fertilizer intensive. And, you mentioned that fertilizer's gone up 40% in the last month or so. Well, actually, year over year, or compared to a couple of years ago, it's 300% more, and in some cases 500% more if you can get the fertilizer. So the image here behind me is actually my farm, and I raise hay on that land. And farmers are deciding right now, for instance, how much fertilizer to put on their hay field. You will not know the implications of that. Even the farmer won't know the exact implications of that until a couple months from now, or the cutting that happens at the end of the summer. In that case, that's 6 months away. So they're making decisions now that are going to affect crop yields and the types of crops they grow based on this high price of fertilizer.
Okay, so I just want to highlight this. The first man was from outside the U.S. Mm-hmm. This is a representative from Kentucky. You're not hearing this on the mainstream media, but you're hearing it from many streams. Mm-hmm. So that tells me that this isn't like, somebody's hyping up food shortage. The president said it on Tuesday.
Yep. He did. Yep.
And so this is the real deal. And I just want to communicate that to everyone who's watching. This is the real deal. Make sure that your family is safe with food and water to be able to provide in case this does happen, which it looks like it will.
Yep.
Yeah, and I like the advice that Glenn Beck gives almost every day now, it seems like, and he says, don't hoard.
Right.
Don't hoard food, but every time you go to the grocery store and you buy something, buy a second. Just buy a second. So I was telling Nate, I go buy a case of water, I get 2 cases of water. Mm-hmm. So I just throw one in the back and say, I'm not going to touch that one because you just don't know.
Right.
Stuff that's obviously not going to go bad, stuff that'll keep for a while.
Yeah.
Till we see how all this plays out. But all these indications, I mean, this is not looking good for the future of our food supply.
No, and since we rotate on 90-day food supply anyway, this may be a 3 or 4 time cycle, which would be to the end of the year or the beginning of 2023, where the decisions that the farmers are making now, as he was saying, are going to affect all the way till January of next year. And what are we going to do as families, as just people in America? What are we going to do when you go and the things that you desire are not there?
Yeah. So what advice would you get? So if you're going to the store, mm-hmm. what kind of items are we looking for? We're looking for dry food. We're looking for canned food, stuff that'll last for a year,
couple years.
Yeah. Most things now with all the preservatives in them, they're going to last a couple years.
Yeah. And if there's no food though, you're not going to be concerned about the preservatives, which is what I keep telling my wife. I'm like, it doesn't matter how much sodium's in there. If there's no other food, we're eating it.
Exactly. Yeah. It doesn't matter.
You ever had.
Yeah. It doesn't matter if it's expired by 3 months.
Yeah.
We're going to eat it. But anyway, anything like that. And we can't survive without water.
That's a big one. I think we talk about the food, but if you don't have clean water mm-hmm. to drink,
it's only a couple days without water. It's a lot more without food. Without food, you can last a lot longer. So I would just say have a water source. It doesn't have to be bottles of water. They have Life straws and all that other stuff. You can go drink out of the river and it's still clear. But having that available and also having long sustained things that are going to last, that aren't going to go bad. And I love Glenn's thought is go buy one. If you're going to buy one, buy 2. That's great. And then we don't have, the run on toilet paper like we did with COVID.
Yeah, no kidding. Yep.
So, but I do believe it's a real deal. And it's our job to just bring to you what we're feeling and what we're seeing. And if we don't talk about this stuff and then it happens, then I think we missed it. So that's why we're bringing that to you.
Yeah, absolutely. Be prepared. I mean, what do we talk? We're talking get cans of beans, get boxes
Rice.
of pasta, rice. Yes, that's a really good one.
Interestingly enough, we were at the store, 2 stores yesterday. There's no noodles or anything.
Pasta's been
Really?
out for a while, at least locally here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been out for a while.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Make sure you get that while they're getting hot, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. Yep.
So, yeah, like Rob said, just want to make sure everybody's aware of what's going on with the food shortage. Do not be caught unaware of what's going on.
Right. Yeah. Just be aware and take care of your family.
It's
Exactly.
got to be really hard on the farmers too, because you're talking about, especially here in America, they've really never had to adapt. We've grown up in a generation that's had everything we've ever needed, never had to think about it twice. And now they're going to have to think on their feet and maybe adapt to different ways of growing things and stuff like that. That could also hamper things.
Yeah. And I'm sure that once you put chemicals on the ground
Yeah.
and the ground gets used to them, if you don't have them,
Yep.
I don't know what would happen, but it may not be pretty.
All right, so a lot going on there. We'll, like most things here, we'll keep up on it just to keep everybody aware. So before we dive into the new lack of Disney magic, let's go ahead and thank sponsor of the show, MyPillow.
Yes.
Many of you guys listening know Mike Lindell, the creator of MyPillow, has been the victim of countless cancel campaigns by the radical left. Despite all that nastiness, Mike continues to stand and fight for your rights and freedoms as an American. And he makes some really awesome products like the classic MyPillows, the Giza Dream bed sheets, the bath towel sets, dog beds, and of course the My Slippers. Talked about these last week. I love them so much. I'm going to talk about them again. So go to mypillow.com, use promo code AGA when you order a pair of My Slippers today. I'm a slipper guy. I wear slippers around the house pretty much all year round. My feet always get cold easily, so that's just what I do. I got a pair of these, and no joke, I'm never going to wear another pair of slippers. They are awesome. I got the moccasin slippers. They also have the slip-on styles. They make slippers for both men and women. Like I said, the other 27 genders, sorry. You're going to have to go with one of those two. These slippers have 4 layers of comfort. They use the MyPillow patented fill. So if you've ever had the pillows, it's like having one of the pillows on your feet. They have comfort memory foam, patented impact gel, and a fantastic indoor-outdoor sole. I wear these things sometimes at the store. My wife's not exactly thrilled about that sometimes, but they're comfortable in white tie shoes. And my slippers also come with a 1-year limited warranty, 60-day money-back guarantee. And for listeners of this show and the AGA network, you can get my slippers for just $69.99 with promo code AGA. They're normally $139.99, but you can take advantage of Mike's awesome deal right now. All you got to do is head to mypillow.com, use promo code AGA when you order your My Slippers today, or you can call 800-565-8573. So either use promo code AGA online, or you can call 800-565-8573. Get your My Slippers today, and thanks to everybody who's listening to the show, and thanks to Mike Lindell at MyPillow.
Yeah, amazing stuff. What products, and people are ordering and enjoying it. So thanks for ordering through the link.
Yeah, and if you order some MyPillow stuff and you want to reach out and let us know what you think, we'd love to
send us pictures.
Yeah, we'd love to hear, and we even read some of your comments on the show if you want to tell people how awesome this stuff is.
Yeah, good stuff. Good company.
All right, so we're going to pretty much spend the rest of the show talking about all this craziness going on with Disney. And so there are some things that we hear in the news, and I think a lot of it is a distraction from some bigger things that are going on. But I don't know. You guys tell me what you think. I feel like this is actually a pretty big deal that, and I've heard other people talking about, for whatever reason, this seems to be the hill that the leftists are willing to die on, is sexualizing our children.
Yeah, which to me seems like a losing battle in the beginning, but man, they're fighting hard.
Yeah.
Well, now they've got the biggest entertainment company on board. So Disney, I'm just trying to think how I want to lay this out. They've really come out in support. We talked about this on the last episode, in support of this LGBTQ movement in their programming. We talked about the Buzz Lightyear movie that's coming out soon that's going to feature, well, I don't want to say feature, it's going to include a lesbian kiss, yada, yada, yada. But it's not just going to stop there. So this first cut, let me backtrack. So they got this leaked video. It's a Zoom meeting, Disney corporate executives or whatever. So they got this leaked footage, the Zoom call, and these are some of the things that were said on that call. So the first one is Disney's diversity and inclusion manager, Vivian Ware, and she's explaining how the Disney theme parks, not just now, but have been for a while now, working to eliminate gender language.
Last summer, we removed all of the gendered greetings in relationship to our live spiels. So we no longer say ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. We've provided training for all of our cast members in relationship to that. So now they know it's hello everyone or hello friends. We are in the process of changing over those recorded messages. And so many of you are probably familiar when we brought the fireworks back to the Magic Kingdom. We no longer say ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. We say dreamers of all ages.
Okay, so dreamers of all ages, no more ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls at the parks.
Seems to the average person, it doesn't seem like
Sure,
you wouldn't even
notice it.
You wouldn't even. I would probably never notice that, but you can hear the heart behind it.
Yeah, the sting behind it. Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, I usually open this show saying, "Hey, everybody."
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine. But see, they are intentionally, like they're training their cast members, don't say ladies and gentlemen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So this is the kind of stuff that's going on behind the scenes. You have any other comments about that one? Because we'll
I'm sure
on.
it gets worse.
Oh, it does. It really does. So this next clip, this is Disney corporate president Carrie Burke. She's discussing Disney's commitment to increasing LGBTQ characters in their children's movies and their shows. I don't think she says this in the video, this stat, but all the reports that I've been reading, at some point, quote, Burke is saying Disney is committed to having at least 50% of their characters in their content being LGBTQIA+, or from an underrepresented community by the end of 2022.
50%.
50% of their characters by the end of this year. We're already going into April. So get ready for some very weird Disney storylines coming your way soon. I just want to make sure I've got the right one here.
I'm here as a mother of two queer children, actually, one transgender child and one pansexual child, and also as a leader. And that was the thing that really got me, because I have heard so much from so many of my colleagues over the course of the last couple of weeks, in open forums and through emails and phone conversations. And I feel a responsibility to speak, not just for myself, but for them, to all of us. We had an open forum last week at 20th where, again, the home of really incredible, groundbreaking LGBTQIA stories over the years, where one of our execs stood up and said, we only have a handful of queer leads in our content. And I went, what? That can't be true. And I realized, it actually is true. We have many, many, many LGBTQIA characters in our stories, and yet we don't have enough leads and narratives in which gay characters just get to be characters, and not have to be about gay stories. And so that's been very eye-opening for me. And I can tell you, it's something that I feel perhaps had this moment not happened, I, as a leader, and me as my colleagues, would not have focused on. And going forward, I certainly will be more so. I know that we will be, and I hope this is a moment where, the 50% of the tears, sorry, are coming. We just don't allow each other to go backwards.
All right. So half of that, I really don't know what she was even talking about or trying to say. Other than apparently all our Disney movies have a ton of LGBTQ characters, but they're just not in the lead.
Right. And she wants 50% of them to be in the lead.
50% of them. Yep.
Strikes me there as the beginning. She's so proud to have children.
Oh, yeah.
Like, she was so proud to have all of her children be not normal.
Right. In her words, queer.
Queer.
That's what she said.
Yeah.
So I just looked up the definition of pansexual.
I have no idea.
Okay.
Yeah.
So pansexual means not limited in sexual choice with regard to biological sex, gender, or gender identity.
Free for all.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Whatever.
So, but I mean,
considering half of their characters are like teddy bears and stuff, that's fine. Whatever. I'm sure they can be whatever they want to be.
right. But she was talking about her kids.
Well, I know, but I'm just saying,
Yeah.
if you're trying to represent those characters in your Disney films, I mean, whatever.
Yeah. Well, the problem with that is that they will make them represent opposite of what they should represent.
Yeah.
Well, and one thing that I thought about when she said that she's got those two kids. Now, this is not a young woman, so obviously her two children, I'm guessing here, because I tried to look it up to see who are these kids, how old are they? I'm sure they're not 6-year-olds or they're not in kindergarten like the kids
not.
they're targeting.
Yeah. Right.
So, it's a little bit of a different story here. You're talking about your probably grown children, I'd say, or maybe, late teens.
Right.
Yeah.
Not little kids who are just kids.
Being groomed.
And kids are raised on Disney.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was. You were.
Yeah.
We were.
From the day we were born, raised on Disney.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that Disney Plus app needs to be deleted.
Yeah, that's
Quick.
Yeah.
So
No more support for that.
It just makes me wonder, though. She said we haven't had very many lead character stories that highlight or focus on characters like that in the lead. Why do you think that is? And I'm going to talk about some more stuff later on.
Because a very low percentage of the population actually are that.
Yep.
So they're actually, if they want to sell movies, they're going to have to. Well, they're obviously she's going to change that, but if
we'll
they
see how long that lasts.
right, exactly. If 50% of the characters now come out to be all these other words or letters, then I'm guessing that there'll be a lot of apps that are not. That are deleted, and there'll be a lot of movies that are not watched because a very small percentage of our country actually reflects what she just talked about.
Yep.
And so I think that they've done it to this point by demand. Mm-hmm. They've snuck it in there, and they couldn't put an I in or a plus in the lead role because people won't watch it.
Right.
And so they've made that decision to this point, but it's her hill she's going to die on to make sure that it happens.
Absolutely. And I think we will see, at least to some level, the breakdown of Disney, because, how well would live action Aladdin have done if it was Aladdin chasing after Prince Jasper? You know what I mean? The whole movie. How many people go to see that? Or you've got, on Disney Plus, the new Obi-Wan Kenobi series is coming out, and everybody is, Star Wars fans are super excited about it. But what if, episode 3, Obi-Wan's shacking up with, another hermit in the village and they're kissing and stuff? But guess what? Not finishing that series.
Right.
That stuff is going to translate in the ratings.
Right.
Heavily.
We've seen it go woke, go broke.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly. Yes.
Nobody wants politics in everything they encounter throughout the day.
And it kind of just goes back to this whole biological sex and gender, that you're born with. There's a reason why in movies and things you've got a love interest between a guy and a girl, and it's not forced. You don't have to force it into the story. You don't have to make it in there because it's natural. Right?
Right.
So why, if they're trying to force this stuff into their content, that means at some level it's not natural, because you have to make it happen.
Right.
You have to create it.
Of course. 100%.
Okay.
So if they're trying to make it happen, my question is how many people are going to watch it?
Well, I don't think very many.
Yeah.
So this next one, this is one of Disney's executive producers, LaToya Raveneau. I'm going to play this clip. I just want you guys to listen to how completely deranged she sounds and how excited she gets when she talks about putting queer content into kids shows.
It's like, I love Disney's content. I grew up watching, all of the classics. They have been a huge, informative part of my life. But at the same time, I worked at small studios most of my career, and I'd heard, you hear whispers. I'd heard things like, they won't let you show this at a Disney show. And I'm like, okay. So I was a little sus when I started. But then my experience was bafflingly the opposite of what I had heard on my little pocket of Proud Family Disney TVA. The showrunners were super welcoming. Meredith Roberts and our leadership over there has been so welcoming to my not at all secret gay agenda. And so I feel I felt it was, maybe it was that way in the past, but I guess like something must have happened in the last, like they're turning it around, they're going hard. And then all that like momentum that I felt, like that sense of, I don't have to be afraid to like, let's have these two characters kiss. Let's in the background, like I was just wherever I could, just basically adding queerness to like if you see anything queer in the show, I'm proud family. But like, I just was like, no one would stop me and no one was trying to stop me.
I would just throw. She just said that she would just throw queers kissing in the shows
everywhere,
just because she wanted to push her agenda.
No one was going to stop her.
Wow.
Yep. Her not so secret gay agenda.
I know. I took that clip. Okay. Not so secret. Huh.
I've actually watched that clip a few times just because it's very distracting with all the this and wow, just
pretty interesting.
Calm down there, lady. Or man, or whatever you identify as, I guess. I shouldn't assume. Okay, so parents out there, I hope you are getting a grasp of what Disney is trying to do to their content that you're putting in front of your kids. Not that it's your fault. I understand. Like,
right.
Disney, like we said, it's just part of childhood, or it was.
And they're changing the terms, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
this next one, this is now Disney's activism partner. Whatever. Nadine Smith of Equality Florida, who thinks that the Parental Rights and Education bill demonizes gay people, and the bill equates gay people with pedophiles. And actually, if she knew what was going on, the bill equates anyone who is discussing sex, body parts, and sexual activities with little kids to pedophiles.
So if you put yourself, as she says, a gay person, and you are discussing sex, body parts, and sexual activities with little kids, then you would be a pedophile.
Correct.
Right.
Or if you're straight and you're doing that,
right,
you're a pedophile.
Right. Yep. But what I'm saying is it's not limited to just gay people doing that.
Exactly. She's skipping everybody a big piece of the equation when she's talking about equating it, right?
Right, yeah.
So listen to what she has to say here.
When we react to this, a lot of us are reacting from the pain we experienced of being isolated and stigmatized in school. But we're also reacting from the reality that when they can erase you, when they can criminalize your existence, when they can demonize who you are, the next step is to criminalize you and take your kids. And we're already seeing that in Texas. So the slippery slope between these ugly messages, emanating from legislative leaders in our state, and then amplified by our governor, whose spokesperson immediately began calling everyone who opposed this bill groomers, AKA pedophiles.
Well, yeah, because everyone who opposes this bill is opposing the prevention of adults talking to 5 and 6 year olds about sex. We've said it before on this show. If we brought in a whole bunch of little kids here and started talking to them about sex, we'd be pedophiles.
Yep.
Right. And so she is talking about the criminalization of those people because of this law. Okay. Like,
yeah, shouldn't be doing it.
Exactly. So, like, you shouldn't be talking to kids about sex.
What she's trying to say, though, and it's a complete lie, is that the law is making it criminal to be gay.
It's not.
That is why these people in the media have called it the Don't Say Gay bill, and they've made it all about gay, where it has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with stopping people from being creepy with kids.
I know. It's crazy. It's crazy.
But Disney's all,
they're all in. They're just slapping people in the back of the movies, just letting them kiss, just to see what people will say.
I'm sure they're receiving some nice compensation for all this.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
The next clip here, this is the last one from Disney's Zoom meeting here. This is Disney's production coordinator, Alan March, talking about how his team is committed to exploring queer stories and making sure that Disney creates enough. Rob, you might have to get your Google back out again. Gender non-conforming characters, canonical trans characters, and canonical bisexual characters.
We're going to have a new dictionary.
I know. It's crazy. Here's what he has to say.
Yeah, I've had the privilege of working with the Moon Girl team for the last 2 years, and they've been really open to exploring queer stories. And I'm on the production side. Part of the work that I feel like I can put in is making sure that we take place in modern day New York. So making sure that that's like an accurate reflection of New York. So I put together like a tracker of our background characters to make sure that we have like the full breadth of expression. And we got into a very similar conversation, Carrie, of like, oh, all of our like gender nonconforming characters are in the background. And so it's not just a numbers game of how many LGBTQ plus characters you have. We got the further, the more centered a story is on a character, the more nuanced you get into their story. And especially with like trans characters, you can't see if someone is trans. There's not one way to look trans. And so kind of the only way to have these like canonical trans characters, canonical asexual characters, canonical bisexual characters is to give them stories where they can like be their whole selves.
All right, what do you got?
Or part of themselves. This is the list. Sorry. Characters that self-identify as trans. This is canonical trans characters.
Okay.
Have been identified by outside parties to be trans. So evidently people are saying they're trans. And so they're listed characters of either, anyway, it goes into how they do it at their thing. For more information about these characters in the LGBT community, you should be looking up lists for lesbian, bisexual, gay, non-binary, pansexual, asexual, and intersexual characters. And it gives a list of all the hundreds of characters that are currently in Disney shows that are trans or bi or whatever, and the date that they were there.
Oh, so, interesting.
Very interesting. Yes.
Didn't know that. Okay.
I didn't either, but they definitely weren't the star. He wants to make them the star of the show.
Right. Yes. Ratings will go through the roof.
So it's going to be a whole movie about their trans journey.
Sounds like
right. I mean, I guess so. Yeah. Like, I don't know who the villain's going to be in that, but whatever.
The doctor? I don't know.
Exactly. It'll probably be Governor DeSantis.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
He'll be the villain. But anyway, it does give, so right now, currently, there are 28 bisexual characters on television in lead roles, like Brooklyn Nine-Nine, True Blood, Firefly, never heard of that, Doctor Who. Anyway, so evidently on main television shows, there's 28 bisexual characters in lead roles.
There have definitely been some shows that I've watched where, you know, that is part of the character's like story, and it's like, okay, well, I understand where it plays in and it fits. And then there's other times where you'll be 4 seasons into a show and all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, I'm bi. I'm like, that
yeah, but you were kissing all those other people in the season
that,
1 through 3.
Come on, you just threw that in here real quick. So
yeah. Well, that was because that guy got in charge of it, and he's like, oh, he can't be straight. He's got to be gay. And so like, because he's got to be a lead role. We gotta have one of these pansexuals in a lead role. So let's just make this person one. Yeah. It's really getting to be way too much, and I just like shut it off. Like, just shut it all off, because this is nonsense, and it's just becoming. We've always known. I mean, you can go back to all the old shows that they've been trying to push this agenda forever, and now they have obviously gotten enough people in the right seats on the bus to make it happen, and we just need a bunch of people to say. Yeah, we're not watching that. I'm sorry, but if people stop buying the apps and delete all this stuff, they won't survive. Stop going to the parks. Stop watching the things. You're just not. It's not going to happen.
The difference, though, now, at least for me, is Disney's going after this legislation. Supposedly, they're well. Just here's Ron DeSantis, and he'll kind of lay this out, and he makes a couple great points in here that we can talk about when he's done.
For Disney to come out and put a statement and say that the bill should have never passed and that they are going to actively work to repeal it, I think, one, was fundamentally dishonest, but two, I think that crossed the line. This state is governed by the interests of the people of the state of Florida. It is not based on the demands of California corporate executives. They do not run this state. They do not control this state. I also thought it was interesting. I talked to the Speaker of the House yesterday afternoon, and he said Disney never called him while they were putting this through the House. They didn't seem to have a problem with it when it was going through. If this was such an affront, why weren't they speaking up at the outset? And yet they won't. And then for them to say they're going to actively work to repeal substantive protections for parents as a company that is supposedly marketing its services to parents with young children, I think they crossed the line. And, people ask me, kind of about, their posture on the bill. I said, you know what? If we would have put in the bill that you were not allowed to have curriculum that discussed the oppression of the Uyghurs in China, Disney would have endorsed that in a second. And that's the hypocrisy of this. And, we're going to make sure we're fighting back when people are threatening our parents and threatening our kids.
Amen.
That's right.
Go for it.
That is a leader right there.
That's a leader. Yep.
Yeah.
I read one of his campaign slogans, and it was "Make America Florida." Right on. Let's do it.
We'll take it. We will take it. I love the point that he made, one, about if we'd included, a part in the bill that said you can't talk about the oppression of Uyghurs in China, Disney would say, yeah, we support that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We won't fight you on that one.
I also think it was very interesting that Disney did not reach out to the Speaker of the House when the bill was actually going through the House. So they really didn't care when they thought it wasn't going to pass. I find it that if you're passionate about a bill, it doesn't matter if it's in committee. It doesn't matter if it's in the organizational part of it. You're standing against it or for it, not just when it goes to vote.
Right. It wasn't until after this bill passed and it went to DeSantis to sign that the Disney workers or whatever staged the walkout and the marches and all this garbage and pretty much put the pressure on Disney to come out and oppose the bill. It was already too late at that point. It had already been passed.
Right.
So, yeah, he's right. Disney could come out and speak out against this thing when they could have.
Right.
What are they doing it now for? They have been, they're just bending the knee to the woke mob.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Woke is broke.
Well, so here's some just a few clips of Hollywood. This is kind of just to show you how these people either have no idea what's going on or they're just doing this intentionally to encourage the lies and the outrage over this, what they're calling the Don't Say Gay bill, even though it has nothing to do with that.
Don't say gay. Don't say, you Nazi pig. First Amendment. Read about it. Then run for office. You piece of
I guess my comment would be gay, 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 gay.
We're gonna have a great night tonight, and for you people in Florida, we're gonna have a gay night. Gay,
Yeah, so apparently the Oscars were on last week, and I didn't even know.
I would have never known they were on without the slap.
Yep, if Will Smith, maybe that's why they did it, just to be like, hey, the Oscars did happen.
Yeah, because nobody would have known.
No, absolutely not.
That just makes me sick.
That right
Angry.
there?
It's creepy.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
You see the evil. I mean,
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's bad.
Just shoving it down your throats like, this is what we want you to think and believe. I mean.
Yeah. So I've got one more clip I want to play here, but I'm going to talk about some stuff before that. I just don't want to forget.
Okay.
So don't let me forget.
We won't let you forget the clip.
But this is why Disney is completely hypocritical in all this. They're lying to everybody. They're lying to you. And they don't actually care about the LGBTQIA+, all the other letters community. And if you think they do, I'm really sorry. You are mistaken, and I'm going to prove it to you. Disney Cruise Lines offers a 9-night Southern Caribbean cruise starting at a whopping $3,870 per person. The cruise line sails to Antigua, Dominica, and St. Martin. Okay?
Yep.
So they're making all kinds of money on this cruise, taking people to these different countries. In Antigua, same-sex sexual activity carries a penalty of up to 15 years in prison. Same-sex marriage is also illegal. There are no laws prohibiting discrimination on the basis of sexual orientation or gender identity. Disney, you need to stop going there. Okay? If you really believe
believe what you're saying, yeah.
In Dominica, same-sex sexual activity is also illegal, carries a penalty of up to 10 years in prison. Same-sex marriages are also illegal on the island, and there are no laws prohibiting discrimination on the basis of sexual orientation or gender identity. So you better stop going there. All right. They've only got one country left on this cruise. In St. Martin, a constituent country of the Netherlands, performing same-sex marriages on the island is illegal, and it is prohibited to change one's legal gender. All right, Disney, you got to cancel that cruise.
Yeah, because you're supporting.
Where's the outcry?
Yeah.
Where's the outcry? So are you telling me all these people just didn't do 2 minutes of research on my end, and I realized, oh, well, they're still doing this. So you tell me this entire LGBTQ community that's running the country right now can't just do a quick internet search and see, wait, they're supporting these countries that, or they're making money off these countries that in prison?
It's all about the money.
Exactly. Follow the money. You're going to see what they actually believe.
At that rate, shut down your park in Florida.
Okay.
Right?
You're diving right into my next point
really?
here. Yeah, absolutely. So if we want to talk about their diversity and inclusion, do you think that the base cost of $109 per day for adults opens the doors for the magical kingdom for low-income families?
No.
How about we talk about the discount down to $104 a day for children under 10? So if you think about it, let's just round down to 100. If you want to, you got to really spend about 1 day per park if you're going to see everything. And I think there's 3 or 4 parks now, right? So if you got a family of 4, just say that's over $400 a day for the 4 parks for 4 days. That's $1,200 just to be in the parks. You're not counting all the food, the meals, the transportation, the lodging, all that stuff, the travel to get there and get back. I feel like Disney's pricing out the low-income families from going to their theme parks. Does that not sound accurate?
100%. Right on.
Okay. So they are lying to you. Nothing, what they're doing with the money does not support what they're doing with their mouth.
Right. 100%.
So I just wanted to throw those out there and say that, this is not an attack on the LGBTQ community. It's just people need to be aware that if you're a member of that community, Disney doesn't care about you.
They're using you.
They're using you. And I know that sucks to hear, but it's the truth. It really is. So you got to be careful.
Yeah.
You really got to be careful.
Yep. And do 2 minutes of research on Google.
Yeah. Just look up a couple things. So I was talking to Nate before the show about this. Have you heard of the libs of TikTok on Twitter? Okay. So Tucker Carlson talks about this every now and again, and he mentions this, and I thought, I need to just look up libs of TikTok. So go to Twitter. If you're on Twitter, type in libs of TikTok, go to their page. It's very interesting. They go through TikTok, find all these video clips that these liberals are posting, and then they share them on their Twitter feed just to kind of highlight the insanity.
Okay, so we're going to laugh. Or
laugh and be
enraged.
And be enraged?
And be a little bit frightened. So
okay.
I pulled some of these that they're either I think some of them are teachers. One's a 4th grade teacher. I think one's a kindergarten. One's a daycare.
Okay, yeah, I'm not going to laugh.
So this is what the people that are pushing this agenda are doing with your kids.
I'm a non-binary teacher, and I use the title mix. And today I had 12 new students, and I just go, hi, my name is Mix Perfect Q. I use mix instead of miss. It's a little bit different, but I'm still a teacher just the same.
I'm cisgender, the majority of my headmates aren't, and we've decided to transition. Which means that as happy as I am for the men in my system, I am about to have to watch myself go through the wrong puberty.
A 4-year-old in my class today was naming all the girls in class, and then she said my name. And I had to tell her, I'm not a girl, don't include me. And then another 4-year-old whipped around, like, mixed kid is a people. And another 4-year-old at a different table looks at her and goes, they're a they.
Kind of not a guy and not a girl, like somewhere in between.
Oh, so you're kind of boy and you're kind of girl?
Kinda, yeah.
Me too, that's me.
Okay, right on.
I want to be a boy, but I don't like being a girl.
You know what? You have choices in this world to be all sorts of different things. But that's why it's MX. So Mix Chavez, that's where that comes from. Some people do identify that way. I'm actually trans, so I'm not a tomboy, I'm trans.
They're recording themselves and putting it out on the internet for everybody to see.
Yeah.
MX.
MX.
Yeah. So, on another note.
All right.
I was in a meeting yesterday, and this man's brother is a teacher in another state.
Okay.
And there are students identifying as cats, and they want kitty litter in the bathrooms. I'm being honest. Look it up. These kids are identifying as cats, and they want kitty litter in the bathroom.
How old?
Grade school.
Okay.
So what, that K through 6 maybe?
Yeah.
Grade school?
K through 5 probably.
K through 5. So like it doesn't matter if you're 17 identifying as a cat.
Do you
Yeah,
clean
you're
your own
right. I guess
litter?
it doesn't matter for the
That's
age.
the question. Do you clean your own litter?
There has to be somebody in
Or
the
does the
bathroom to clean it
janitor
up.
clean it?
I don't know. But they are, and so I said, I'm at home last night, and I'm like, there's no way. Like, there's no way.
Mm-hmm.
And I said something to my kids, and they're like, oh yeah, it's all over TikTok. Like, it's everywhere. Like, the kids are identifying. They wear leashes and collars. The boyfriends, well, I don't know. That's
a whole nother.
Anyway, they walk around the school with leashes and collars, and they want to go to the bathroom in a kitty litter box. Okay, how does this make it into our society?
Coming to a Walmart near you, you're gonna
oh my gosh,
crawling through the aisles.
I don't know.
It's crazy.
But is it okay? So as a teacher, let's go with his brother or whatever. As a teacher, how in the world do you address that?
That's what I was going to ask you as a pastor. What do you do?
I don't know.
Me neither.
I don't know. I mean, I know what I do.
Yeah.
Is I line it up with the word, and obviously that's not in alignment with the word. But like, I mean, it does bring up a serious question that sounds sort of funny, but like, if someone that identifies as a cat gets injured, where do you take them?
Yeah,
I guess you take them to the vet. I mean, if they want to go to the doctor, we need to take them to the hospital. Like, they go to a litter box. They want to be a cat. We're going to the vet.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I'm just wondering, like, I like, how far can you play this out?
So for me, and I know this is much easier said than done. I'm not a teacher. I'm not facing these kinds of things on a daily basis. But I would say don't lie to them. If a kid says I'm a cat, you look and say, no, you're not. Somebody's got to stop peddling the lies, because if you're not telling them that it's a lie,
But they're petitioning the school boards to put litter boxes in the bathrooms.
I'd be getting out of that school system real quick.
Yes.
I think the homeschooling is going to go to a whole new level.
So I would, it depends on what you really feel like opening your eyes to, but go to the libs of TikTok on Twitter, because I even came across a video. I didn't pull it for the show, but there was a teenage girl sitting in her car after a doctor's appointment, and she was showing everybody on TikTok in a jar her uterus that the doctor had pulled out of her and cleaned up and put in the jar for her to take home as a memento, I guess, which...
And make a TikTok video about it.
It's kind of making me a little nauseous just kind of reliving what I saw there, but this stuff's happening, and it's a mess.
It is sick and demonic and deranged.
Yeah. The thing I get from that clip is she literally said, I'm going to have to go through puberty the wrong way.
I thought it would be the right way.
Isn't she like harassing herself at that point by saying that? Shouldn't she like...
That's true.
Yeah. She should default and like break down, right?
I mean, you can poke
They need crying rooms like after the election.
Oh my god.
They need to go have crying rooms where they can deal with this stuff, right?
Yeah. So I guess the last thing that, and I said something to Nate here before the show again, but I was listening to another show this morning when I was driving into the studio here, and they were playing a clip, and I didn't have time to catch who it was, but a guy made a really great point. He said, what's the next step in all this? He said, how far away now are we from teachers not just saying that you can be whatever you want, or you can tell everybody else how you want to be identified, but to actually telling the kids, you need to, if that's how you identify, you need to prove that that's how you identify. So if you're a girl and you identify as a boy, well, let me see. Prove it to me. Now that sounds super creepy and pedophile-y, but we also have a bill now being demonized because it prevents adults from even talking to kids about sex. So what's stopping these teachers from doing that?
Right. They're fighting so that they can talk about it.
Yeah. And
so
what's that leading to?
Right. Yeah. There's no off ramp to this.
No. And we've talked about this, like this normalization of pedophilia, these minor attracted persons, and how there's been this advocacy to make it normal and legal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we brought that up, 2-3 months ago?
Yes.
And look where we're at today.
Yes.
It's gotten so much worse in a matter of months.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
wow.
it's just, I feel like it's a problem that, like you said, maybe 2-3 months ago, we could shrug off, laugh off, be like, these people are just out of their minds. Yeah. Look how much worse, like you said, it's gotten. Yeah. So we just need to be aware of this as well and pay attention to what's going on with your kids.
Yep.
Be aware. With their Disney shows, I don't care, with their Nickelodeon shows. It's not just Disney that's doing this. With everything, with their teachers. Meet their teachers. Talk to them. Figure out. If I had kids, I'd go straight to my teacher and say, are you talking about any of this stuff in class?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And if they get mad at me, so what? Yeah. Who cares?
Yep. We'll move to a different place.
Exactly. Well, if they get mad at you for asking that, then yeah, I'm yanking my kid out. We're going to go somewhere else.
Right.
Or just homeschool. I don't know.
It's getting wild.
It is. So you guys, Rob, you said you hadn't really
I hadn't seen
everything with the Disney.
No, I'm glad
situation.
I was unplugged last week.
Yeah. So how's that make you feel?
Yeah, sick. Sick, yeah. but not
surprised?
Not surprised at all.
Right. And that's the thing. We're not doing all this to say, oh, everything's drab and dreary, but it is important to know what's going on so you can be aware, like we always say, be awake, know this stuff is happening. That way you can be alert to it. Find your kids good content. There is good content available out there. I think it was the Daily Wire I saw is starting to come up with like their own films and TV shows and things that obviously don't incorporate all this crazy ideology in there.
Yep. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. I think that through the pressure of all this, we're going to see some great things come out. I really do. I think we're going to see some great new content. We're going to see some creative stuff. Creativity doesn't just rest in California or Orlando. It's all over the world, and that's the goal. Let's get the creativity of the people who aren't wondering what the world is going on to actually create.
Yeah. So just want to thank everybody again for tuning into this episode. Hopefully you've learned enough to keep your eyes open for some things. Just stock up on some food. Be prepared for that. Watch out for what your kids are doing in school and online and on TV and everything. These child predators are just growing in number, it seems. So just be on the lookout and keep everybody safe.
Yeah. Can I drop a quick statement? Yeah. So at the end here, if you have downloaded the app and you watch us on the app, there's a way that you can actually just reach out to us through the app and say, hey, this is what's going on. We would love to know all around the world, people watching, what is going on with food.
Yeah. Okay.
What is going on with food? If you have empty shelves, send us some pictures. You can go right in there and just comment. It comes directly to our email, and then we can reply back to you and connect on a social channel if you want. You can go on Facebook. You can join the Awakened group if you want to try that while we're still there, and post your pictures in there and start a conversation because we want to know around the country what's happening so we can report on it.
Yeah, that'd be great. I'd love to read comments from viewers and listeners about what's going on. If you have those kind of pictures and stuff, yeah, send those. If you've got questions and you're just wondering about stuff and you want to get a conversation going, ask the questions. We'll love to talk about stuff.
Yeah, so you can do it right through the app.
Awesome. Yep. Awesome. So do that. And that would be, if you're online, go to www.aga.network. That's AGA TV. That'll get you right to all of our content. Make sure you download that app Rob was talking about on your phone, on your smart TV, because that is where all of our content's going to live. I mean, we're on YouTube and Rumble. Follow us there. But again, no guarantees we'll be there tomorrow. So we'll just have to see what happens. Make sure you follow us on Locals. Join the Locals community at supportaga.com. And make sure you go get yourself some MyPillow, My Slippers, the Dream Sheets, all that stuff. These things are absolutely incredible. Use promo code AGA when you order, and you'll get the discounted rates. And I think they're still doing Mike's book, right? As a free gift.
So.
Yep. You still get the free gift, Mike's book, with your order. So it's pretty awesome. The guy has an amazing story. Thanks again for everybody tuning in. Have a great weekend. Until we see you guys next week, stay awake.